Episode 11 The Dark Deed. Scene 1 Preparing for the mission. Dawn breaks over a quiet, somber Pride Rock. The usual morning chorus of birds and insects feels muted, as if nature itself senses the storm brewing. Inside the den, a small war council forms. Keon stands before the Lion Guard and Night Pride, flanked by Kiara and Kavu. Ronnie sits close, her gaze fixed on her mate, silently reading the weight in his eyes. Keon speaks, voice firm but subdued. We've hurt Scar's forces, but not enough. We strike again, fast, quiet, and deep. No mistakes. Everyone nods, though tension ripples through the group like wind through dry grass. Ronnie's eyes linger on Keon. She knows this mission is more than strategy, it's personal. He's slipping into a darker mindset, and she's not sure how far he's willing to go. He selects a small strike team, himself, Kiara, Kavu, Vadini, Ronnie, and two of the Lion Guard's finest, Fuli and Ono. Their objective is brutal but vital: cripple Scar's core by unraveling the army from within. Scene 2 Deep into hyena territory. As night blankets the savannah, the team moves silently into the outlands. The moon offers only a sliver of light, barely enough to navigate the rough, thorny terrain. Keon leads, every sense alert. Shadows shift, every twig snap could spell death. They break into smaller units, using the terrain, dried riverbeds, termite mounds, scorched trees, to conceal their movements. The hyena camps are sprawling but loosely guarded. One by one, the team executes swift, silent takedowns. 50 hyenas fall in the night, no alarms, no mercy. Fear begins to seep into Scar's forces. Whispers of ghost lions spread like wildfire. Morale shatters. Keon says little, his commands quiet and razor sharp. He moves like a shadow, not a leader, but a predator. His team follows without question, but the silence between them grows heavier with each kill. Scene 3 Kyan's solo mission. Just before dawn, Keon stops. The wind changes. He turns to the group. Stay here, I go alone from here. Kiara steps forward. Kyan, what are you doing? Ending this, I need to send a message one they'll never forget. Kavu starts to object, but Kyan's look stops him cold. There's a fire in his eyes, one that didn't used to be there. Keon moves like a ghost through Scar's inner camp. He's headed for the heart, where the hyena cubs are kept. A cruel but calculated move. He tells himself this will break their enemy. That this is war. That this is for Ronnie, for their cubs. That he has no other choice. But every step closer tightens something in his chest. Scene 4 The Dark Deed. He finds them, dozens of hyena cubs nestled in a hollow, protected by a few lightly sleeping guards. Keon hesitates, his claws flex. The cubs are innocent, unaware, laughing in their dreams. He exhales. Then, silent fury, the guards fall before they can raise alarm. Keon enters the hollow. He doesn't look at their faces. Just shadows, targets. He carries out the act quickly, efficiently, mechanically. When it's over, he doesn't breathe for a moment. He can't. He leaves the hollow in silence, not daring to look back. His paws are stained. The morning sun begins to rise, washing the camp in light and blood. Scene 5 Chaos and the aftermath. Moments later, howls erupt through the outlands. Mothers find their young. Screams, wails, snarls. Chaos breaks like a dam. The hyenas are undone. Panic surges through their ranks. They splinter. Some flee. Others turn on each other, accusing traitors, blaming weakness. Scar's grip begins to crack, not by force, but fear. Keon disappears into the haze. His face is blank, his soul numb. When he rejoins his team, no one asks what happened. They know. They just march home in silence, weighed down by the cost of victory. Scene 6 Returning to Pride Rock. Back at Pride Rock, the returning warriors are greeted not with celebration, but quiet respect. They succeeded. Scar's forces are in shambles. But the prize. Keon gives a full report to the Guard and Pride leadership. He glosses over the darkest part, offering only what's necessary. Ronnie stands close, brushing her side against his. He doesn't respond. His eyes are fixed on nothing. Scene 7. Simba and Nala's announcement. As the tension lingers, Simba and Nala step forward to deliver unexpected news. We're expecting a new cub, Simba says simply, with a soft smile. The pride gasps. Nala, glowing with calm joy, places her paw on her belly. A murmur of hope passes through the crowd. Even in war, life continues. For a moment, the darkness is pushed back. Scene 8. Kyan's quiet reflection. That night, Kyan stands on a cliff, the savannah stretching endlessly below him. The stars above are clear, cold, and silent. He watches them and wonders if they were watching him. He thinks of the cubs, of Ronnie, of his own children. He tells himself again it was necessary. But necessity doesn't erase the sound, or the faces, or the silence that followed. I did it for them, he whispers. A tear falls. He lets it. Then he turns and walks back. To his family, to the war, to whatever comes next. Scene 9. Closing. Kyan returns to Pride Rock, shadowed by regret but strengthened by resolve. The pride senses the shift in him. He is no longer just a prince or a warrior. He is a leader forged in fire and loss. The announcement of a new cub, Simba and Nala's gift of hope, becomes a symbol. A reason to keep fighting. The final image is Kyan standing with Ronnie, the wind lifting his mane, their cub sleeping behind them. The war isn't over, but neither is their hope. Episode 12. The Fight of a Leader. Scene 1. Kyan and Kyra's conversation. The morning sun rises over the Pride lands, casting a golden glow across the savannah. On a high ledge, Kyan sits beside Kyra, his eyes shadowed with guilt. He stares out in silence, the memory of yesterday's decision, ending the lives of hyena cubs, weighing heavily on his heart. Kyan. I never thought it would come to this, taking their lives. Even if they were hyenas, they were still just cubs. Kyra gently nudges him, her gaze filled with understanding and pain. Kyra. I remember what they did, Kyan. Those hyenas nearly destroyed everything. If you hadn't been there, Ronnie, your cubs, they might not have survived. Kyan turns to her, eyes brimming with doubt. Kyan. But they were innocent. I didn't want to be the kind of leader who kills children, no matter whose side they're on. Kyra. You didn't want this, I know. But being a leader means protecting those who can't protect themselves. Sometimes that means making choices that tear you apart. Kyan says nothing. He looks out across the savannah as her words settle into his soul. The sun rises higher, but the weight of his duty feels heavier than ever. Scene 2. Kyan asks Simba for help. Later that day, Kyan finds Simba watching the cubs play near Pride Rock. Kyan's steps are slow, but his eyes burn with urgency. Kyan. Dad, I need you to come with me. To the Outlands. You have to see it for yourself. Simba looks up, studying his son. Simba. What's going on? Kyan. It's bad, worse than I expected. I can't face this alone, not without knowing we're all on the same page. Simba nods, sensing the gravity in Kyan's voice. Simba. Lead the way, son. Scene 3. Kyan shows Simba the threat. They cross the plains in silence until the jagged terrain of the Outlands rises ahead. From the edge, Kyan gestures to a valley below. The dark land swarms with movement, hyenas, rogue lions, and a banner of fear stretching as far as the eye can see. Kyan. This is what we're up against. Hundreds of hyenas, over 24 lions, loyal to Scar and Zira. They're building something, preparing. Simba's face hardens as he takes in the size and organization of the enemy forces. Simba. I see. They're not just surviving, they're planning a war. Kyan. I'll stay and keep eyes on them. But I need you to protect the Pride lands. Keep the cubs safe. Rally the guard. We don't have much time. Simba places a paw on Kyan's shoulder. Simba. You're not alone in this, Kyan. Be careful. As Simba heads back toward Pride Rock, Kyan remains behind, still, watchful, and deeply burdened. Scene 4. Kyan takes action alone. That night, the Outlands lie under a shroud of darkness. Kyan moves like a shadow, slipping between rocks and underbrush. His eyes scan the enemy camp. Every step is deliberate, every breath, controlled. One by one, he disables sentries with silent, precise strikes, cutting through the outer defenses like a whisper on the wind. But just as he turns to leave, a sharp snarl pierces the quiet. A hyena lunges from the shadows. A brutal scuffle erupts. Claws and teeth flash in the moonlight. Keon fends off the attacker, but not without cost. A deep gash slices across his leg. He bites down a cry and escapes into the night, his limp worsening with each step. Scene 5. Keon returns to Pride Rock. By dawn, Keon staggers back to Pride Rock, blood streaking his fur. He collapses near the den, his chest heaving. Ronnie rushes to him, her eyes widening in alarm. Ronnie. Keon, you're hurt. Keon. I'm fine, just a scratch. I took out a few lookouts, but it's worse than I thought. They're getting ready to strike. She leans close, nuzzling him gently. Ronnie. Then we'll be ready too. You're not in this alone anymore. Keon meets her gaze. For a moment, the pain eases, not in his leg, but in his heart. Still, as he looks toward the horizon, the weight of what's coming remains. Keon. I hope that's enough. Episode 13. The Calm Before the Storm. Scene 1. Ronnie tends to Keon's wound. Night falls softly over Pride Rock. Inside the den, shadows flicker across the stone walls from a small fire. Keon lies on his side, his injured leg propped up as he winces from the pain. The quiet hum of night insects surrounds them, but all Keon can hear is the sound of Ronnie's breath as she tends to him. Ronnie sits close, gently licking the wound with focused care. Her touch is soft, her eyes filled with both concern and quiet strength. She doesn't speak, but her presence alone eases some of the pain. Keon. Ronnie, you don't have to. I'm fine. She lifts her head, her voice calm but firm. Ronnie. You're not fine, Keon. You're hurt. And right now, your job is to rest. I'm not going anywhere until I know you're okay. She returns to her task, steady and devoted. Keon watches her, heart swelling with gratitude. Even in the middle of uncertainty, Ronnie's love is a steady flame. In her presence, he finds rare peace. Scene 2. Keon's plan to return to the Outlands. The morning sun begins to crest over the horizon, painting the Pride Lands in gold. Keon, still limping, finds Simba standing silently at the edge of Pride Rock, eyes distant, lost in thought. Keon. Dad, I have to go back to the Outlands. We've weakened them, but it's not enough. If we don't keep pressing, they'll regroup. We have to end this before they can strike again. Simba turns slowly, eyeing his son's injured leg with concern. Simba. You're not ready, you're still healing. Going back now would be reckless. Before Keon can answer, a voice cuts through the morning air like a blade. Ronnie. No, you're not going back. Keon turns in surprise as Ronnie steps forward, her expression fierce and unwavering. Ronnie. I won't watch you throw yourself into danger again, not like this. You're no good to anyone if you're too broken to stand. She moves beside him, eyes locked with his. Ronnie. I love you, Keon, but love doesn't mean letting you destroy yourself. Simba quietly nods in agreement, his gaze soft but resolute. Simba. She's right, you've already risked enough. Let your body heal, let us carry the weight for now. Keon looks between them, his heart torn between duty and reason. But deep down, he knows they're right. Scene 3. Ono's scout report. As the day unfolds, tension buzzes beneath the calm. Keon rests reluctantly in the den, his mind racing with unfinished plans. Above the savannah, Ono soars, his sharp eyes scanning the horizon and the edges of the Outlands. Suddenly, he spots movement, smaller than before. Ono. Report from the Outlands. The enemy's numbers have dropped. Only about 300 hyenas left, and fewer than 20 lions. He lands in front of Simba and Keon, breathing heavily but eager. Oh no. Keon, your hit-and-run tactics, they worked. You've shaken them, their morale is crumbling. Keon. They're really falling back that much. Oh no. They don't know what's hitting them. They're afraid, disorganized. You've done serious damage. Simba smiles, a glimmer of hope in his expression. Simba. You've made a difference, son. Even when you weren't at full strength. Keon allows himself a small smile, but it's tempered. The battle isn't won yet, but for the first time in a while, hope feels real. Scene 4, Rest and Reflection. Back in the den, the afternoon sun filters through the entrance, casting warm light on the stone. Keon lies beside Ronnie, his leg bandaged. Their cubs play nearby, laughter echoing softly. Keon watches them, quiet, reflective. Keon. They're growing up fast. Ronnie rests a paw on his. Ronnie. They are, and they'll need both of us. Not just warriors but parents. Keon. I just want to protect them. To make sure they never have to go through what we did. The pain, the war, the fear. Ronnie. And they won't, because you're giving them something better. You're fighting now so they won't have to later. She leans against him, and he closes his eyes, exhaling a breath he didn't realize he was holding. Ronnie. They'll be strong, because they'll grow up knowing peace and love. Keon. And we'll make sure of it. Together, they watch their cubs play, the echoes of laughter a promise of what they're fighting for, a world worth protecting. Episode 14, A Time to Heal. Scene 1, Wounds and Love. The sun rises over the Pride Lands, casting warm golden hues across the savannah. The scene slowly zooms into Kyan's den, where the light barely reaches the still figure of the Lion Guard's leader. His leg is elevated and tightly bandaged, but every shift brings a wince of pain. His breath is shallow. By his side, Ronnie gently tends to the wound, licking it with delicate precision. Her care is quiet but steady. She knows this pain. She once lived it. Now she gives back the devotion he once showed her. Ronnie. Try to relax. Keon. You need to rest. That's the best way you'll heal. Keon manages a faint smile, but it doesn't mask the torment in his eyes. Keon. I know. I just hate lying here. I feel useless. I can't protect you or anyone. Ronnie leans in closer, her voice low and steady. Ronnie. You're not useless, Keon. You've done more than any of us. And when you're strong again, we'll face whatever comes, together. You're never alone. Keon closes his eyes, letting her words carry him into a brief, much needed peace. Scene 2, Shadows in the Outlands. Far across the Pride Lands, within the jagged shadows of the Outlands, Scar paces in a dimly lit cave, his emerald eyes burning with restless energy. Zira stands by, posture rigid and focused. Scar. Keon is injured. The Lion Guard is scattered. Their strength is broken. Now is the time to strike. Zira. Yes, but not without precision. The Guard may be weak, but they're not defeated. If we want to win, we must pull them into a trap. Scar stops, his lip curling into a wicked grin. Scar. Don't worry, Zira, I have just the plan. We'll draw them in, and when they're close enough, we crush them. A quick montage follows, Scar and Zira rallying troops, sharpening claws, prepping their ambush. Meanwhile, back in the Pride Lands, Keon grows weaker with each passing day. Scene 3, Family and Fear. Back at Pride Rock, tension hangs thick in the air. Kyra and Kavu approach the den, worry etched deep into their faces. The savannah seems to hold its breath as they draw near. Kyra. Ronnie, how is he? Is Keon getting better? Ronnie, visibly tired but composed, steps aside. Kyra enters slowly, and the moment she sees her brother, her heart cracks. Keon lies motionless, pale and still. Kyra rushes to his side, tears already forming. Kyra. You were always the strongest of us. How did it come to this? Why does it feel like we're losing everything? Keon opens his eyes with effort and gives her a small, reassuring smile. Keon. It's okay, I just need time. I'll be alright. Kyra nuzzles him gently, tears dripping onto the stone floor. Kavu steps forward, placing a steady paw on her shoulder. Ronnie watches from the shadows, heart heavy. She approaches and gently lays her paw on Kyra's. Ronnie. You're being here, it means more than you know. To him, and to me. Kyra looks up, eyes brimming with gratitude. Kyra. Thank you, Ronnie, for everything. You've never left his side. I'm so glad he has you. Ronnie. And he has all of us. We stay strong. For Keon. For the Pride Lands. Scene 4. A new life begins. That evening, Nala appears at the entrance of the den. weary but glowing. In her arms rests a small bundle, her newborn cub, born under a fragile sky. Kyra. Mom, you had the cub. Nala. Yes, a boy. He's perfect. Keon lifts his head slowly, eyes widening at the sound of new life. Nala gently places the cup beside him. Keon. Is he okay? Nala. Healthy and strong, and he'll grow up in a better world, because of everything you've done. Keon leans forward and lightly nuzzles the tiny cub, warmth spreading through his chest. For the first time in days, something blooms within him, hope. Keon. I'll protect him, I promise. Scene 5, Dawn of Resolve. As night deepens, the stars glitter above the Pride Lands. The camera pans across the savannah, tranquil now, but a storm brews on the horizon. Inside the den, Keon sleeps surrounded by his loved ones. Kyra sits beside him, her sorrow replaced with fierce determination. Ronnie lies next to him, one paw protectively over his. Ronnie. We'll face whatever comes, together. Keon opens his eyes and meets hers. His body may be weak, but his spirit is stronger than ever. Keon. We'll fight, Ronnie, we have to. Final scene. The camera pulls back, slowly rising over Pride Rock as the first light of dawn touches the land. In the den, the new cub sleeps peacefully beside Keon. Despite the shadows creeping ever closer, the Pride Lands remain united. Scar's forces may be ready to strike, but so is the heart of the Lion Guard. And with love, family, and purpose on their side, they are far from defeated. Episode 15, The Prize of Courage. Scene 1, The Return of Strength. Morning light floods the Pride Lands in gold. Inside the den, a quiet stillness hangs in the air. Kian stretches his leg, the healed limb moving without pain for the first time in weeks. Rafiki watches, eyes keen and wise. Rafiki. It is strong again, yes, but strength in the body means nothing without strength in the heart. Kian nods slowly, his eyes focused, not just eager, but resolved. Kian. I understand now, this fight, it's not just about power. It's about protecting those I love. And I know what I have to do. Rafiki smiles as he turns to leave, the sound of his staff tapping softly on the stone floor. Kian steps to the mouth of the den, the outlands looming in the far distance. His eyes narrow. The time has come. Scene 2, A Silent Pursuit. Kian walks alone across the Pride Lands, each step purposeful, the morning wind brushing through his mane. He says nothing, leaving only paw prints in the dust. High above, hidden among the trees, Ronnie watches him disappear into the horizon. Her brow furrows. Ronnie. I knew he wouldn't wait. Not after everything Scar's done. Not after what we've lost. She steps from the shadows and follows, silent and swift. Scene 3, The trap is set. The skies darken over the outlands. Smoke curls from distant fires, and the ground is cracked and dry. Keon arrives at Scar's lair, alone. The lair pulses with tension. From the gloom, Scar steps forward, his green eyes gleaming with cruel amusement. Scar. So, the mighty Kian returns. No Lion Guard, no roar at your back. Just you, walking into your own doom. Kian. This ends today, no more ambushes. No more fear, I won't let you hurt my family again. Scar chuckles darkly. Scar. You really think this is about you? You were never the target. He leans in, voice dripping with menace. Scar. This was always a trap, but not for you. Before Kian can react, a piercing scream echoes through the air, followed by yelps, snarls, and the unmistakable sound of a lioness in pain. Scene 4, Ronnie's stand. Not far away, Ronnie is surrounded. A pack of hyenas closes in, their teeth bared and claws out. She fights fiercely, her strikes swift and precise, but there are too many. She slips, they pounce. Ronnie. Kian. Scene 5, The roar awakens. Kian hears the scream, and everything else fades. Kian. Ronnie. His paws thunder across the cracked earth. He crests a ridge, and there she is, pinned beneath snarling hyenas, blood staining her fur. Kian. Get away from her. With a roar that splits the sky, powerful, but controlled, he unleashes the roar of the elders. A tidal wave of energy surges from his mouth, sending shockwaves across the land. Trees snap, stones shatter, hyenas are blasted into the air and flee in terror. Silence follows, and dust. Scene 6. A race against death. Kyan sprints to Ronnie's side, breath ragged. Her body is bloodied, her breath shallow and uneven. Ronnie. I followed you. I couldn't let you go alone. Kyan. You weren't supposed to get hurt. I should have protected you. He gently lifts her onto his back, her weight fragile but grounding. And then he runs, faster than he ever has, back toward the Pride Lands. Scene 7. Home and Heartbreak. At Pride Rock, Nala, Kyra, Kavu, and Rafiki rush out as Kyan bursts into the clearing, soaked in dust and panic, Ronnie limp on his back. Kiara. Ronnie, no, what happened? Kyan. They ambushed her, I was too late. Rafiki immediately begins tending to her wounds. Kyan collapses beside her, pressing his forehead to hers, tears falling freely now. Kyan. You saved me, Ronnie, please, let me save you. End scene. The true cost. The moon rises as stars begin to appear one by one. Inside the den, Kion sits silently beside Ronnie, holding her paw as she sleeps, her breath shallow but steady. The camera slowly pulls back from Pride Rock, revealing the vast, moonlit savannah. The war isn't over. But the cost is already too high.